Hello, everyone. I'm Len Berkowitz.
And I'm Sherry Fackler-Berkowitz.
And we started in January 1st, 1980 on Main Street at 8133. And go ahead.
We own Great Panes Art Glass Studio.
Yep.
Go ahead.
All right. The first project that we did in Ellicott City was to do the transom at 8133, and I believe it is still there. We've also done quite a few other projects in Ellicott City. We've done the second floor glue chipped windows that are on the second floor of the train station. We've also done major restoration and repair work for Emory Church, which is just around the corner on Church Street. We've also done work for Chez Fernand Torsigels, actually, and we also did work for Aldo Batiste. And then we moved down to 8069 Main Street, one of the buildings that was removed recently. And that's about it for that part of it. Let's see, in our experiences of Ellicott City, when we first came to town, there was a lot of mentors in town. There were people who had been there for many years. Of course, I did say Fernand Torsigel. There was Annalie and Roland Bounds. There was Sam and Gertrude Kaplan. And there was several, Piney Ross and Lou Bennett were also, they had a dress shop in town. So basically, the community was a very close-knit business community, mainly between Columbia Pike and the river. And in 1984, I was one of the original signers of the Articles of Incorporation of the Ellicott City Business Association. I was also the first vice president. And after the fire of 1984, that was in the middle of town, just above the Commercial and Farmers Bank, I became the president because Roger Moreno was burned out. So there have been several occasions where I decided to be involved with the Ellicott City Business Association, actually president 3 times during my administration or my years in Ellicott City. Also, Bruce Taylor was an important factor to all of the people in town. While I was president of the business association, he actually was also on the board and became a sponsor that financed a probably 1890s small bus that was used to transport people around town and also pick up from the courthouse parking lot. Historically, there have been many, many incidents of disasters in town. Obviously, the ones that everybody immediately thinks of is the two floods of 2016 and 2018. But before that, in 1984, when the fire occurred at the middle of Main Street, the fire department took 20 minutes to get down to Main Street, and the fire station was just up the road. Also, at that time, there was a fire alarm box right outside my store at 8133, and about a month after that fire, it was scheduled to be removed and was removed. So I don't know whether it would have been faster for them to come down by a phone call or that alarm box. And we've had several other incidents. There was a time where 7 fires were started by someone on Main Street that was, I'm not sure who he was, but he tried to start 7 fires. And also, what else, Sherry? Can you think of?
Well, I would say I remember Ellicott City as kind of being like the Wild West town. We used to have horses come down the sidewalk. We had goats on roofs, and we had Roger and his sister, who were the terrors of town. Everybody kind of feared Roger. He'd get out in the middle of the street and holler and scream in the middle of the night. Well, many years later, we look out and there's a truck delivering beer to Al Parsons at Coca Lane. Lo and behold, there's Roger. Came over, introduced himself to us, was very friendly to us. And so to me, that's some of the fun things that I remember. I remember Baxter's. I remember the Blues Bar. And of course, Leidig's Bakery. Who could ever forget Leidig's Bakery? The original was just to die for. We'd come in on Sunday and go into the studio, and there'd be a line up the street of people just waiting to get into the bakery. There's a lot of really good memories.
Yeah, and also at that time, in the early part of 1980s, most of the residents lived on the 2nd and 3rd floors of all the buildings. There was not a lot of commercial development in the upper floors. It was all basically from Columbia Pike down to the train station.
You had an apartment in your building?
Yes. We had 2 apartments. So we had income for a residential area, and then we had the lower floor. Oh, what was that? After 2016 flood, Joan Eve moved into the front of our building, and we moved to the back only, and still worked and did custom work and restoration and repair. And the final project, as a matter of fact, that we did for Ellicott City was the restoration of all of the windows for the Historical Society up on the hill in the old Presbyterian Church. And that project was 45 windows, and every single window was restored to its beautiful brightness that it should be.
Any more specific things to your building?
To our building. Well, when Joan Eve moved in and we moved to the back of the building, they had already taken out all the cobblestones in the alleyway, which we were promised that the county was going to bring back someday. And all the school children would always come through town on their field trips, and they always walked through the alleyway. So we'd get to see the kids, and they'd get to look into the windows and see our classwork. But we had a studio that had tables in it, and we had full demonstrations daily as we were working on projects. And
We taught classes for many years. We taught 3 nights a week. We had kids come in from the elementary schools as soon as the teachers found out that some of their students' grandparents owned a stained glass studio. The request was, can we bring the class in for a field trip when we come into Ellicott City? So we did a lot of educating. What else can you say?
well, I would say, as a final note, I would like to say that Ellicott City was here before we came, and it's still here today, and it's still thriving. No matter what has happened over the years, and I believe over 30 floods, several fires, Ellicott City manages to survive no matter what. So I hope that the progress of the River Walk will just continue to bring in more people. But I do see that Ellicott City is flourishing, and it's given us everything that we ever wanted in our life. It gave us the opportunity to retire, still do a little bit of glass work, and be able to be very comfortable. And we're very thankful for that. Good luck in the future.